Trump campaign trolls Taylor Swift with eras-inspired merchandise. MAGA pastor claims Kamala Harris deployed witchcraft in Trump debate. Ben and Jerry's co-founders unveil Kamala Harris ice cream flavor. Trump campaign trolls Taylor Swift with eras-inspired merchandise. MAGA pastor claims Kamala Harris deployed witchcraft in Trump debate. Ben and Jerry's co-founders unveil Kamala Harris ice cream flavor.
Reuters reports Amazon Walmart's Flipkart breached India antitrust laws. Investigation finds Brazil judge withdraws $3.3 million from Musk Starlink and X to pay for social media fines. And Brazil's Supreme Court unfreezes assets of Elon Musk Starlink, X after taking fines. DJT shares soar, as Trump says, "I'm not selling steak."
Democrats who urged Biden to exit race say Harris is exceeding expectations. White House will smell like curry. Trump ally Laura Loomer's racist comment on Kamala Harris's potential victory sparks outrage. Trump defends debate performance and calls for ending tax on overtime.
Trump rules out another debate against Harris as her campaign announces $47 million haul in hours afterward. Harris challenges Trump to debate again as she rallies in North Carolina. Republican Karl Rove says Trump got crushed by a woman he called dumb as a rock during trainwreck debate. Democrats who urged Biden to exit race say Harris is exceeding expectations. Palm Beach asks for help after spending $93,000 a day to protect Trump. Trump's media company owes more stock to deal architect, judge rules. J.D. Vance got a former professor to delete a blog post Vance wrote in 2012 attacking GOP over anti-immigrant rhetoric.
Harris soars to record 6 points lead over Trump in post-debate poll. In the U.S., presidential campaigns and allies plan $500 million in TV and radio ads. U.S. judges warned of election year risks of foreign hacking. Nielsen announced over 67 million viewers tune in for ABC News Harris vs. Trump debate. ABC debate moderators live fact-checked Trump's false claims from the stage, and Trump demands ABC be shut down for daring to fact-check debate. Former Vice President Dick Cheney says he'll vote for Harris. Liz Cheney calls Trump a catastrophe and urges Republicans to vote for Harris, and former President George W. Bush has no plans to endorse in the election. Trump wants 25th Amendment changed to impeach vice presidents.
Taylor Swift has endorsed Kamala Harris for president. Donald Trump says Taylor Swift will pay a price for endorsing Kamala Harris. Elon Musk breaks debate silence with bizarre offer to impregnate Taylor Swift, and reportedly, Taylor Swift drove nearly 338K people to vote.gov with Kamala Harris endorsement post. Nancy Pelosi suggests 30% of Republicans are sexist, racist, homophobic. 88 corporate leaders endorse Harris in new letter, including CEOs of Yelp, Box. London Borough threatens to clear Lime hire cycles from streets over abandoned e-bikes. Havoc. South Korea's summit to target blueprint for using AI in the military, as 60 countries endorse blueprint for AI use in military, where China opts out. Microsoft to announce next phase of Copilot on September 16th. Firefox now lets you access your favorite AI chatbot without switching tabs. China's collapsing EV startups leave owners stranded.
Musk denies report his XAI in talks over Tesla revenue. Honor's latest devices use AI to try to reverse nearsightedness. Kaspersky offloads U.S. antivirus customers to Pango Group. Apparent camouflaged Tesla robotaxi prototype sighted at Warner Bros. Burbank. Nevada agencies eye artificial intelligence to speed jobless claims, DMV queries. Lucid shows off Gravity SUV with Tesla Port and teases a cheaper midsize EV. Micron unveils 36 GB high-capacity version of ultra-fast memory useful for AI development. Blue Sky's total number of users has finally exceeded 9 million, and video posting function will be released soon. Replit releases Replit Agent, an AI that allows people with no knowledge to create apps simply by entering prompts. Sam Altman leaves OpenAI Board Safety and Security Committee. Microsoft announces $60 billion buyback, raises dividend by 10%. Runway debuts API, allowing enterprises to build apps, products atop its realistic video AI model, and AI video rivalry intensifies as Luma announces Dream Machine API hours after Runway.
NBC pulls back Tonight Show to 4 nights per week. World's first Aerospike engine aircraft to take to the skies in September. 4 months ago, world first Aerospike rocket flight test ends in disaster. Elderly Romanian woman used amber nugget worth over $1 million as a doorstop for decades.
Ukraine's Kursk offensive has triggered doubts among Russian elite, spy chiefs say. Biden says, ending ban on Ukraine's use of long-range weapons being worked out. Russian ship captured in satellite image, delivering ballistic missiles from Iran. Utah social media restrictions likely violate First Amendment, judge rules as Utah social media law requiring age verification blocked by judge. Americans used record 100 trillion megabytes of wireless data in 2023. Apple's Fuzzy Feelings wins Primetime Commercial Emmy Award.
Former Samsung executives arrested for allegedly stealing tech for China. MariaDB goes private with new CEO. As K1 closes acquisition, Facebook admits to scraping every Australian adult user's public photos and posts to train AI, with no opt-out option.
Days of tribal violence in Papua New Guinea leave more than 35 people dead, police say. 2 former fire chiefs in New York City arrested in corruption scandal. Former Trump chief of staff loses bid to move Arizona election subversion case to federal court.
Russia expels 6 British diplomats amid spat over long-range weapons, as Putin warns NATO risks war over Ukraine long-range missiles. Russia expels UK diplomats it accuses of spying. US express growing concerns over rumored Iran and Russia nuclear agreement, questioning nuclear secrets for ballistic missiles.
4 prominent columnists quit Jewish Chronicle over Gaza stories based on fabrications. Pope says, war in Gaza is too much. No steps taken for peace.
Elon Musk's XAI accused of worsening Memphis smog with unauthorized gas turbines at data center. In the U.S., job rate for women in tech stubbornly low for 2 decades, study finds.
Reportedly, The Penguin is a violent Batman spin-off that deserves to sit next to The Sopranos in HBO's crime drama pantheon. As the Penguin's showrunner on creating a Gotham show, where you don't miss the Batman, X launches the beta version of its YouTube TV competitor. OceanGate wanted Titan subpilots to dive to Titanic after just 1 day's training, whistleblower reveals.
3,200 years old ancient Egyptian barracks contains sword inscribed with Ramesses II. Eyelash magnate Seidel Miller's art collection estimated to bring around $200 million at Sotheby's.
Delta faces U.S. investigation after flight passengers report bloody ears and noses. IBM quietly axing thousands of jobs, source says. Trump floats long-shot proposal for 10% cap on credit card rates.
Federal Reserve signals end to inflation fight with a sizable half-point rate cut as Fed slashes interest rates by a half point, an aggressive start to its first easing campaign in 4 years. In the U.S., Federal Reserve forecasts lowering rates by another half point before the year is out. Wall Street soars to records as Dow leaps 500 in a rate cut rally that swept the world. The Fed has poured rocket fuel on the red-hot AI trade.
Widespread adoption fraud separated generations of Korean children from their families, AP finds. More than 3/4 of U.S. states have enacted laws to guide use of opioid litigation proceeds. Alaska man charged with threatening to assassinate 6 Supreme Court justices.
Ammunition from India enters Ukraine, raising Russian ire. Wall Street Journal reports that Putin is under pressure to call up more troops for war of attrition. With an evil axis, JP Morgan CEO issues stark economic warning over Russia, Iran, North Korea, as Jamie Dimon says an evil axis of countries are his top concern for the next 100 years.
20 killed, 450 wounded as Lebanon hit by second wave of Hezbollah device explosions. After blasts, Lebanon bans walkie-talkies and pagers from flights leaving Beirut. IDF hits more than 100 loaded Hezbollah launchers in series of major Lebanon strikes. As Israel attacks southern Lebanon, Hezbollah launches rockets at Israel. Nasrallah says device blasts could be seen as declaration of war, vows vengeance, and Nasrallah vows Israel will not be able to return residents to their homes in the north.
Iranian hackers sent stolen Trump campaign info to Biden campaign associates, FBI says. Microsoft executive warns of election meddling in final 48 hours. FTC staff report finds large social media and video streaming companies have engaged in vast surveillance of users with lax privacy controls and inadequate safeguards for kids and teens.
23andMe faces Nasdaq delisting after its entire board resigns. Chipmaker Qualcomm lays off hundreds of workers in San Diego. Elon Musk officially moves X headquarters from California to Texas. EU court confirms Qualcomm's antitrust fine, with minor reduction. Apple gets EU warning to open iOS to third-party connected devices, as EU Commission demands Apple to align interoperability with digital competition rules. Brazil threatens X with $900,000 daily fine for circumventing ban. It has been reported that X bypasses Brazil ban though software update.
Forced and child labor abuses found in 75% of lithium battery supply chains. It had been reported recently in Germany as Volkswagen could apparently lay off up to 30,000 employees, and Volkswagen denies report that it is mulling 30,000 job cuts. Redwood Materials signs deal to recycle BMW's EV batteries in the U.S.
The electronics company Sharp wants to sell cars, as Sharp and Foxconn's EV prototype shows new way of vehicle design. 2025 Jeep Wrangler V6 goes manual only, Gladiator goes hybrid. Ford boss warns Chinese EVs are an existential threat.
In Canada, Loblaws launches for-profit food bank. In Argentina, government responds to aerolíneas union strikes with a sell-off threat. South Korea's local governments embrace the 4-days workweek.
Ukraine joins NATO drone countermeasures exercise for first time ever. Romania asks Ukraine to shoot down Russian drones breaching Romanian airspace. 2 weeks ago, NATO members Romania, Latvia accuse Russia of violating airspace with military drones. Putin says Russia is ramping up drone production tenfold.
Ukraine's gun-armed ground robot just cleared a Russian trench in Kursk. Army picks 2 companies to get small drones to brigade combat teams, as U.S. Army embraces Ukraine-style warfare, with new all-drone unit. U.S. deploys soldiers, rocket systems to Alaska Island as Russian military activity ramps up in region.
The Guardian reports, as revealed, Russia anticipated Kursk incursion months in advance, seized papers show. Russia redeploys 40,000 troops to Kursk Oblast as Kiev's incursion continues, Zelensky says. Ukraine reportedly uses triple-loaded Neptune missile to strike Russian ammunition depot into a region. North Korean missiles ICBMs, air defenses destroyed in Russia blast, claimed in a report. EU Parliament passes resolution to remove all restrictions on Ukraine strikes in Russia.
Zelensky urges the West to allow long-range strikes without distance limits. 2 days ago, The Times reported as U.S. could allow Ukraine to fire missiles into Russia within weeks. Peace only way out of wars in Gaza and Ukraine, Chinese defense chief says, as China defense minister calls for negotiation to solve Ukraine, Gaza conflicts. Advisor to Indian PM will tell Putin about closed meeting between Indian PM and Zelensky, and India's PM advisor says never conveyed any statements from Zelensky to Putin, announced by Kremlin.
Finland's territory not to be used to attacks against Russia, announces General Staff, as Finland denies Russian media claims of drone attack from Finnish territory. Leaked contracts reveal Kazakh and Russian scheme to service Su-30 SM aircraft with French equipment. Russia discharges 45 Indians fighting in its army.
Putin warns, Ukraine's use of long-range arms will put NATO at war with Russia. 6 days ago, U.S. says deep strikes in Russia no game changer after Zelensky plea. NATO making plans of sending its troops to Ukraine, says Russian Deputy Defense Minister, where China and Russia chide West at annual security forum in Beijing. U.S. delays solution to Ukrainian conflict, causes destabilization in Europe, claims North Korea.
The Palestinian economy is in free fall and will require billions to rebuild, the UN says. IDF declares Hamas's Rafah brigade defeated. No active cross-border tunnels found. IDF investigates claim Jewish Chronicle published stories based on fabricated intelligence, of which 1 week ago, It had been reported as Sinwar's secret plan to smuggle hostages to Iran.
Reports claim Israeli troops raided Iran's IRGC weapons facility in Syria, took equipment and documents. The 6 Canadian terror plots police have foiled since October 7th. U.S. Navy SEAL unit that killed bin Laden trains for Chinese invasion of Taiwan. EU's first Sustainable Investment Facilitation Agreement enters into force with Angola on green energy, agri-food value chains, digital innovation, fisheries, logistics, and critical raw materials. U.S. supports 2 permanent UN Security Council seats for Africa. Sweden to pay immigrants up to $34,000 to go back to home country. Lukashenko says Belarus is ready to admit more foreigners for permanent residence.
Korea's LIG Next won Iraq set for $2.6 billion deal on MSAM missile system. Italy tests new generation midget submarines of Qatar. U.S. grants Egypt $1.3 billion in military aid, overriding rights conditions. After more than a century, the Campbell's Company drops soup from its name. Boeing machinists vote to strike after 95% reject contract with a 25% pay increase. Kevin Hart's ambitious vegan restaurant chain, Hart House, suddenly closed all locations overnight. In the U.S., 1 out of 5 borrowers get student loan forgiveness or $0 payments under Biden programs. USA's interest payments on the national debt top $1 trillion as deficit swells. ECB cuts interest rate to 3.5% and warns of weak Eurozone growth.
Mexico will amend its constitution this weekend to require all judges to be elected. In Mexico, Sinaloa governor cancels September 15th, the day for independence of Mexico, due to violence in the state. Colombian President Petro slammed for branding women journalists dolls of the mafia. For $1,000 to low Earth orbit, South Korea's reusable rocket plan targets SpaceX's dominance. FCC chair encourages satellite internet competition. Hint Starlink is a monopoly. A billionaire and an engineer conduct first private spacewalk in SpaceX mission.
JP Morgan, Bank of America to crack down on long hours after death of Leo Lakinas, who worked 100 hours per week, and JP Morgan Chase caps bankers' week at 80 hours. Verizon to eliminate almost 5,000 employees in nearly $2 billion cost-cutting move. PwC laying off 1,800 employees as it plans restructuring.
Trump is safe after apparent assassination attempt at his Florida golf course, FBI says. Biden on Trump shooting incident said, "There is no place for political violence." Suspected gunman in apparent Trump assassination attempt said he was willing to fight and die in Ukraine.
Biden's arms transfers to Israel under internal investigation. Hartz reports as an Israeli student worked for Iranian intelligence.
The Guardian reports as former Trump advisors helped to grow pro-Russia website that spreads misinformation. Russians at War finally shows in Toronto as a stand against that abuse, against those threats that forced TIFF to halt screenings. Kremlin promotes Putin globally on YouTube at blocks in Russia.
Cuban president invited to next BRICS summit in Russia. Pakistan joins major Eurasian transport corridor passing through Uzbekistan, as Pakistan has joined the development of a new international transport corridor through Belarus, Russia, Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, Afghanistan, and Pakistan to Indian Ocean ports. Departing NATO chief warns U.S. against isolationism.
Dutch prosecutors say man arrested after fatal stabbing is suspected of a terrorist motive. Major jihadist attack in Mali's capital killed more than 70, security source says. U.S. officials concede Gaza ceasefire out of reach for Biden. UN General Assembly overwhelmingly adopts historic text demanding Israel end its unlawful presence, policies in occupied Palestinian territory within 1 year. Israel offers to end war. Let Sinwar leave if all hostages freed at once. Gaza disarmed.
Ukrainian parliament renames 327 towns to break away from the Soviet heritage. CERN prepares to expel Russian scientists, but won't completely cut ties. Study claims low cognitive ability intensifies the link between social media use and anti-immigrant attitudes.
Jewish Israeli charged with plotting assassinations of Netanyahu and key officials for Iran. Reportedly, Telegram channel of Didu Secrets shut down, shortly after publication of Israeli Ministry of Justice leak. Leaked documents reveal Israel's strategy to avoid U.S. foreign lobbying law, claimed in a report. 1 month ago, Hartz commented as, after Iran steals sensitive Israeli data, Israel tries to censor the internet. 1 month ago it has been reported as, Iranian operatives have been posing as Israelis to try to recruit them, Shin Bet says. U.S. hits Russian state media with sanctions for raising money for Moscow's troops in Ukraine. In the U.S., Treasury targets Venezuelan officials aligned with Nicolas Maduro in response to electoral fraud, as U.S. imposes sanctions on 16 Venezuelan officials linked to Maduro. Leaked Supreme Court memos reveal John Roberts' role in shielding Trump from prosecution. France's Breton resigns as EU commissioner, in public clash with Ursula von der Leyen, and France nominates Foreign Minister Stéphane Séjourné for EU Commission. Vivek Ramaswamy to host multi-part roundtable series on Fox Nation streaming service.
Suspected Trump gunman was once charged with possession of a weapon of mass destruction, and man who appeared intent on killing Trump wrote a book urging Iran to assassinate the former president. Elon Musk's Biden and Kamala wouldn't even try to assassinate anyone post gets 34 million views, then Musk deletes it as a joke. U.S. Secret Service says it is aware of Musk post about Biden, Harris. Change.org announces a declaration of Elon Musk as a national security risk to the United States. Trump blames Biden and Harris rhetoric for latest assassination attempt, says he will save the country. Donald Trump loses Electric Avenue legal battle with Eddie Grant. Jury could be convened over compensation from former president. RFK Jr. says he faces federal investigation for beheading whale. J.D. Vance defends false claims against Haitians says, "If I have to create stories, that's what I'm going to do," as J.D. Vance admits he is willing to create stories to get media attention. Ohio Governor Mike DeWine says baseless claims about Haitian immigrants are garbage. Russia now using thermite-spewing Dragon drones to torch Ukrainian positions. 1 week ago it has been reported as, Ukraine's Dragon drones rain molten metal on Russian positions, in latest terrifying battlefield innovation. Arctic Circle airports closed after suspected Ukrainian drone attacks. Release secret list of alleged Nazi war criminals in Canada, say Polish and Ukrainian groups. 1 week ago, Ottawa warned release of names of Nazi war criminals who settled in Canada could help Russia.
Erdogan says Crimea must return to Ukraine for just end to war. Turkish-operated vessel carrying grain hit by Russian missile in Black Sea, as grain ship hit by Russians in Black Sea was in Romanian economic zone, claimed in the media. In the U.S., Israeli freight forwarder pleads guilty to violating export restrictions imposed on Russia.
Labeling Trump's lies as disputed on X makes supporters believe them more, study finds. The most surprising new gun owners are U.S. liberals. Democratic senators urge FCC to pass AI political ads proposal, and broadcasters, cable companies urge FCC to nix the AI disclosure proposal.
New York City sheriff under investigation. As Adams' inner circle faces federal probes, Elon Musk steps up political giving with six-figure donation to U.S. Congress Republicans. U.S. Congress passes bill, blocking Biden administration's attempt to require 2/3 of new cars to be electric within years.
Trump says that if he loses, the Jewish people would have a lot to do with it. Harris could win the presidency but lose the Senate, giving Republicans a veto over her agenda and judges. Scientific American magazine's comments as, "Vote for Kamala Harris to support science, health and the environment."
Secret Service report details communication failures preceding July assassination attempt on Trump. House unanimously votes to boost Secret Service protection for presidential and VP candidates. Judge extends temporary restraining order against Biden's student debt forgiveness plan. 2 weeks ago, Republican-led U.S. states sue over new Biden student debt relief plan. In the U.S., Johnson under pressure after U.S. Congress fails to pass Republican funding plan, and Trump pushes shutdown. 2 days ago, Congress Republicans torpedoes Speaker Johnson's funding bill. In the U.S., Senator Warren says vote on marijuana banking bill could happen this year, blames Republicans for lack of progress. As reportedly, senators push to pass cannabis banking bill after marijuana rescheduling.
In Brazil, federal police will investigate who used X after blocking. Maurice finds X 5 million Brazilian reals for trick that circumvented social media block in Brazil. X indicates lawyers, and Maurice gives the social network 24 hours to prove legal representation in Brazil.
Georgia judge dismisses 2 criminal counts against Trump in election interference case. Homeland Security designates next January 6th as a national special security event. AI chatbot gets conspiracy theorists to question their convictions.
China rams Philippine ship while 60 minutes on board. It has been commented as South China Sea tensions could draw U.S. in. Respected mathematician Kenji Fukaya leaves U.S. to teach at China's Tsinghua University. Malaysia's king to seek funds for high-speed rail on China visit, sources say.
Nigel Farage to give up ownership of Reform UK. In Germany, 1 in 3 from police force reports racist comments from colleagues. Right-wing members of European Parliament unite to recognize González as Venezuelan president, weakening cordon sanitaire.
Most Canadians want fewer immigrants in 2025, as per Nano's survey. Student accused of terror plot in New York raised no red flags upon entry into Canada. Records show, 2 weeks ago, a Pakistani national charged for plotting terrorist attack in New York City in support of ISIS. Canada to cut study permits for international students by 35%.
Kamala Harris, Oprah Winfrey to host virtual event targeting battleground states. Harris says, if somebody breaks into my house, they're getting shot during event with Oprah. Teamsters Union says won't endorse Harris or Trump in U.S. election. CNN reports that North Carolina governor candidate Mark Robinson declared himself Black Nazi on porn site, and Mark Robinson vows to stay in NC governor's race following report he made inflammatory comments on a porn site. Trump-backed governor candidate denies Black Nazi post.
To BRICS, 34 countries have expressed desire to join, announced Putin. TASS comments as, IMF supports Turkey's decision to join BRICS, by the fund representative. China welcomes more Global South partners to join BRICS, announced by senior Chinese official.
The Guardian comments as, UK has decided to allow Ukraine to use Storm Shadow missiles in long-range strikes on Russia. Starmer tells Putin Russia started Ukraine war and can end at any time. Poland hosts Blinken, joins calls to lift weapons restrictions on Ukraine, as Polish leaders urge Blinken to lift limits on Ukraine's use of long-range weapons. Poland has zero desire to defend Ukraine, top Polish diplomat says in a conversation with pranksters. Belarusian Defense Ministry suspects Pokemon Go game of gathering intelligence on the country's military bases. UK terror police aid investigation into death of Ukraine podcaster. Russia puts 6 foreign journalists on wanted list for illegally crossing border.
Harris pledges to rein in degree requirements for federal jobs. Trump pledges largest deportation in U.S. history, starting in Ohio and Colorado. Pope Francis criticizes Trump and Harris, and says voters must choose between lesser of 2 evils. It just exploded. Springfield woman claims she never meant to spark false rumors about Haitians, in the U.S. Sam Bankman-Fried seeks new trial, blaming federal judge for ridiculing him. In the U.S., elections bets go live on Kalsha after CFTC's court loss. Recently Wall Street regulator CFTC moves to ban election betting, escalating fight over new market. MicroStrategy stock pops 8%, after company UPS Bitcoin holdings to $14.6 billion.
WeWork founders climate firm refunds crypto token holders after failed launch, reported by Forbes. Coinbase version of wrapped Bitcoin, CBBTC, goes live as Coinbase drives $18 billion Bitcoin pool towards DeFi with new BTC variant. Indonesian crypto exchange Indodax shuts down after suspected $22 million hack.
SEC signals Ethereum is not a security in settlement with eToro. eToro reaches $1.5 million SEC settlement, agrees to stop trading most cryptocurrencies. UK court rules Tether as property in first English law post-trial crypto ruling. Trump to launch World Liberty financial crypto platform on Monday, as Trump plans to launch his son's crypto business on Monday, 50 days before Election Day.
BTC Puzzle 66 was solved recently, then stolen by bots. Revolut prepares for 2025 India launch. Apple Pay now integrates with Affirm on iOS 18 following Apple Pay later discontinuation. Payments in Singapore with stablecoins rise to almost $1 billion. Biden aides working on proposal for U.S. sovereign wealth fund. Blockchain music startup Tuned FM raises $50 million from global emerging markets.
Guarding crypto is a lucrative business and Wall Street wants in. USDC issuer Circle announces HQ move to New York ahead of IPO.
JP Morgan, UBS join BIS. Bank for International Settlements blockchain-based plan to overhaul cross-border payments. Harvard students and alumni launch groundbreaking native Bitcoin blockchain project at Harvard Innovation Labs to tackle global debt crisis. Elon Musk didn't show up for testimony in a probe over his $44 billion Twitter takeover. Now the SEC wants sanctions.
SEC drops Ethereum 2.0 investigation and court dismisses consensus lawsuit. 3 months ago, SEC charges Consensus Software for unregistered offers and sales of securities through its MetaMask staking service. 5 months ago, crypto firm Consensus sues U.S. SEC over Ethereum regulation. SEC seeks extension till February 2025 to produce documents in Coinbase case. German authorities shut down 47 crypto exchanges for money laundering links. In Germany, Commerzbank partners with Deutsche Börse Crypto Finance to offer crypto trading to corporate clients. Crypto exchange BingX hacked. On-chain data shows over $43 million drained.
UK Parliament moves to recognize Bitcoin and crypto as personal property. Bitcoin miners dump $1.7 billion worth of BTC as rising mining difficulty and weak price action take their toll. Russia plans full-scale digital ruble operations in July 2025. Biden targets Shine, Temu with new rules to curb alleged abuse of U.S. trade loophole. In the UK, millions of Vodafone and 3 customers could see their bills rise, officials warn. White House officials signal delay in U.S. steel takeover decision. U.S. businesses' optimism in China falls to record low. Survey shows, and U.S. companies see record low profits in China amid geopolitical tensions and slow growth, report says. U.S. Congress House approves legislation to restrict tax credits for EVs using Chinese battery technology. European Commission rejects Chinese EV price floor offer as tariff vote looms. USPS long-awaited new mail truck makes its debut to rave reviews from carriers. It took 50,000 gallons of water to put out Tesla's semi-fire in California, U.S. agency says. China directs its carmakers not to make auto-related investments in India.
Ford commits to manual and V8s for 2025 Mustang and beyond despite rivals like Dodge and BMW pulling back. A stock Toyota Prius just drove across America averaging 93 mpg, setting a Guinness World Record. Lotus Electra will start at $229,000 thanks to 100% tariffs on Chinese EVs.
Tony Hawk says he has been talking to Activision ahead of the Pro Skater 25th anniversary. 10 years after it was pulled offline, viral mobile game Flappy Bird is coming back. Ubisoft stock tanks to 10-year low after lukewarm Star Wars Outlaws launch.
The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt modder restores secret ending scrapped by CD Projekt. Elden Ring Update 1.14 makes Shadow of the Erdtree's final boss easier, as part of significant balance changes. Underwater mountain discovered is 2 miles high and home to flying spaghetti monsters.
Pew Research announced more Americans, especially young adults, are regularly getting news on TikTok. Discord launches end-to-end encrypted voice and video chats. FDIC unveils rule forcing banks to keep fintech customer data in aftermath of Synapse debacle. 3 months ago it had been reported as Synapse bankruptcy trustee says $85 million of customer savings is missing in fintech meltdown. And last month it has been reported as Synapse's collapse has frozen nearly $160 million from fintech users. FTX auditor fined $2 million by SEC to settle negligence allegations.
Google loses fight against $2.7 billion EU antitrust fine. OpenAI's most advanced AI model Strawberry to launch earlier than planned. AG Ferguson urges Congress to require warning labels on social media.
Unicode version 16.0 released with new emojis, faces with bags under the eyes, hieroglyphs, arrows added, information added to the Japanese character information infrastructure, and more. Cloudflare announces that it has reduced CPU usage by 1% for processes that run 35 million times per second by optimizing its code. Apple must pay Ireland more than $14 billion in back taxes,